Hey, what's up? Back with another manga spotlight for today. So the books that we're going to look at will be these two here called K no葬列, which translates to The Funeral Procession of K by mangaka Maki Kusumoto. And these two are the same series here. Series was from 1995. This is just the 15th reprint, maybe, I believe, or 15th chapter that was released. So volumes 1 and 2, and some information on Maki Kusumoto. So this manga is the only manga I've read from her so far. She was born in 1967, still active, I believe. She has done a ton of manga, but she debuted in 1984 in Margaret Comics as well. And she is pretty well known for her art style and her character design. So if I flick through a little bit, very distinct character designs, fashion, hairstyles, and facial expressions specifically as well. A lot of her works can be described as gothic, decadent, just as some descriptors of her stuff. And so this specific manga here, I read way back, maybe a couple of years ago, but I did revisit it for a reread just because I was in the mood for something dark, like this was. So first of all, amazing books, very high quality, and the covers are also really distinct as well. Here's the inside of it. But to start off this review, I will give the premise of what actually happens, and then I will talk about spoilers and why this really caught my attention. So the premise of this story is we are set in this pretty much like an apartment complex where tons of people are living, but in one of the rooms, our character K had died. So we kind of start off after this prologue here with a funeral service for K, but this is a really cool color page. We start off with a funeral service for K, and everyone from the apartment building is in attendance. But suddenly, a person by the name of Mikaya shows up and announces that they're gonna live in the same room that Kay lived in. And he basically goes around and questions everyone to figure out how Kay had died. So it's sort of murder mystery story. And slowly as the story goes on, the mystery starts to unravel in honestly a very satisfying way, in my opinion. So if you are looking for a detective mystery story with a pretty strong reveal at the end, you might like this. So there's a lot on death, a lot on relationships between different people in the apartment complex. You have also a ton of stuff on how you're perceived by other people. Of course, there will be themes of suicide as well, of living up to expectations, that sort of thing. But the way that the story goes, each character is pretty distinct, even if they don't get too much screen time, which is great. I feel that Kusumoto does a very good job with that, especially with her character designs and the way that she writes her dialogue as well. So the mystery, the whole atmosphere of mystery is pretty consistent, quite strong throughout. But yeah, highly recommend if you do want that detective murder mystery that is pretty well paced, because there's only 2 volumes for this book. So it's not too long, doesn't stretch out for too long, and it's not too short either. So the 2 volumes I think is a really good and suitable number for the story overall. So what I'll get into now is a little bit in the spoilers of the manga, which more relate to the ending of it, to be honest. because the format of this manga and how it starts off with is once Mikaya comes into the story, he goes around and starts questioning each of the residents one by one. So from that point, it's kind of just learning every resident's perspective on what happened to Kei and their relationship with Kei. And so that is a lot of the first volume. Each of the residents are a bit weird, but they do have some connection to Kei, whether it is significant or seemingly trivial. So doing that one by one was a great way to sort of watch the environment grow and see Kusumoto's character storytelling as well, how she designs the characters, and how continuing on. Again, this one by one format, it doesn't take too long either, again, because this is only 2 volumes. It doesn't really stretch out as we go through and meet every single character, but slowly and surely we get even more info, and we also get these very cool pieces of artwork as well throughout. And here's some more there. And yeah, so going on to the second volume, where we actually start to learn more about Kei himself outside of these perceptions of these characters. A lot of the story delves into backstory now. So it goes into looking at the past with Kei, and we do have, I'm not going to spoil it too much, but because there are a couple of different things that happen, but generally we dive into a flashback that follows Kei before everything had happened. And this is the best part of the book, in my opinion, because we see how troubled Kei was, we see how pressured he was by family to abide by their expectations and to live by how they wanted him to live. And we see all of that through the perspective of someone else that he meets. And they observe him and provide this sort of recount of what he said to them, their relationship. But you can very easily tell that he was quite broken. And once you get into this section of the manga, the rest of the plot that happened in volume 1 with learning about Kei, it makes a lot more sense, way more sense. So it retroactively impacts what you've learnt from the first part of the story, which is amazing, right? That's the best way to utilize a flashback, and that's what you want a flashback to do. And so the ending, which I'm not going to spoil too much either, it's a very sad one, to be honest, but it does provide closure for the story of Kei. We do know why he had died, but also wraps up the whole environment of the building and how they sort of interacted with Kei, and concludes it very, very well, in my opinion. But yeah, a very strong detective mystery, murder mystery manga, in my opinion. I don't know, I guess I've read a couple of those manga from that genre. It's not something that I visit often, but if you're looking for something that is has a gothic feel to it, is very strong with its aesthetics, very distinct characters, dialogue, storytelling. If you're looking for that and a darker sort of story about relationships, then this manga here would be perfect for that. So yeah, I just wanted to pull this out because this one was something that I revisited. That's no matter how many times, I think I've reread it twice now. Each time I notice new things too, so that's always a plus as well. But very strong. Every time I do read it, I always enjoy it. So yeah, hope you guys have enjoyed this review. We'll see you in the next one. Bye.